The fall before the rise, hook and setup. In a small town on the edge of a vast, silent land, life was calm and simple. Each day passed much like the one before, with people tending to their work and families, and the night sky watching over them. But one clear evening, everything began to change. A strange, deep shadow crossed the sky. It was not the shadow of a cloud or the flight of a bird. It was something that made every heart beat a little faster with fear and wonder. Mark, a kind and thoughtful man who lived in the town, was among those who noticed the change. He ran a small shop and was known for always helping his neighbors. Every evening, as he locked his shop and looked up at the stars, he felt uneasy. Something was different in the night sky, and his mind filled with questions. What was this unusual sight? Could it be a sign of trouble coming? One stormy night, when the wind howled and rain pounded the streets, the strange object moved closer. It was not a falling star, nor was it a natural comet. Instead, it was a craft, a silent, glowing vessel that slowly descended into the nearby woods. Its blue light was soft and inviting, yet it held a secret that would change everything. Driven by both worry and curiosity, Mark left the safety of his home and made his way toward the forest. The path was dark, and the trees whispered old secrets with every gust of wind. When he reached a small clearing, he saw the impossible, a group of beings standing around the craft. They were unlike anything Mark had ever seen. Tall and slender, with large, gentle eyes that shone with both pain and hope, they did not carry any weapons. Instead, their hands were extended in a gesture that spoke of peace and desperate need. The leader of these beings stepped forward, his voice soft and hesitant as he spoke in broken English. "We need help. Our home is dying. Our people are in danger. We have nowhere else to turn." His words echoed in the quiet clearing, stirring both fear and compassion in the hearts of those who heard him. Word of the arrival spread quickly through the town. People gathered in the town hall, a place once filled with friendly chatter and community spirit, to discuss this new and alarming event. Some whispered that the aliens were a gift from the heavens, a chance for new knowledge and hope. Others, however, saw them as a threat, a danger that could upset the careful balance of their quiet lives. Voices rose in anger and fear as the meeting continued. In the heated crowd, Mark stood and spoke calmly. "We must listen to them. They have come to us with a plea, not with violence. Perhaps they need our help, and in helping them, we may find our own path to a better future." His simple words, spoken with sincerity, were a spark in the dark room, yet many still looked on with suspicion and worry. As the townspeople argued, the aliens quietly set to work repairing their craft. They used small tools that glowed with a light unlike anything found on Earth. Every movement was careful and precise. It was clear that their technology was far ahead of human knowledge, yet it was also delicate. The damage from their long journey and the fall of their own world had made them weak. They needed help to survive, and perhaps to find a new home. As night turned slowly into early morning, a small group of brave residents decided to offer the aliens food and water. With cautious steps, they approached the strange beings, who accepted the simple gifts with grateful nods. In return, one alien gently touched the hand of a small child who had come forward, his large eyes kind and understanding. In that moment, the tension began to ease, and hope began to grow in the hearts of some. But even as these small acts of kindness brought a glimmer of warmth to the cold night, a darker side stirred in the town. A few local leaders met in secret to plan how to protect their community. "If we help them now, what will they ask for later?" One whispered. "We do not know their true nature," another added. Their low voices carried a mix of greed and fear. They believed that if they controlled the aliens, they could use their advanced tools to gain power. The seeds of distrust were already sown. For Mark, however, this moment was a turning point. He believed that every end was also a new beginning. The fall of the old way of life, the comfort of simple routines and familiar faces, was giving way to a future filled with challenges and opportunities. The aliens, with their plea for help, had offered humanity a choice: to close their hearts in fear or to open them in hope. Mark chose hope, believing that even a small act of kindness could spark a great change. As the first light of dawn broke over the town, the silence was filled with both uncertainty and promise. The fall before the rise was complete, a period of despair that set the stage for a new beginning. Humanity now stood at a crossroads, where every decision would change the path of history. The aliens had arrived, not as conquerors, but as lost souls seeking refuge. In their simple plea lay the potential to transform not just a small town, but the entire world. And so, with the sun climbing higher in the sky, both humans and aliens braced themselves for the unknown days ahead. The stage was set, the first act of a grand story was complete, and the promise of a new era glimmered on the horizon. The tides of doubt. In the soft light of the new morning, the town awoke to a changed world. The mysterious craft sat silently in the clearing, its blue glow now dimming with the first hints of sunrise. The aliens, still fragile from their long journey, worked carefully to fix the damage they had suffered. Their delicate tools shimmered as they moved, and every touch showed their deep need for help. Yet even as they mended their vessel, a cloud of doubt and fear began to gather among the people. Mark, who had risked so much the night before, was the first to greet the day with determination. He walked slowly to the clearing, his eyes fixed on the aliens. He remembered the gentle look in the alien leader's eyes and the soft plea for help. To Mark, the aliens were not a threat, but a chance for a new beginning, a bridge to a future where kindness and understanding could change the course of history. However, not everyone in the town felt the same. In the town hall, a heated debate had begun. A group of local leaders, still reeling from fear and uncertainty, met in a private room. Their voices were low, but each word carried a heavy weight. "We cannot trust these strangers," one leader whispered. "They have shown weakness, and that could be our downfall." Another chimed in. "If we help them too much, we might lose control of our town. We must be careful for our own safety and future." Their words spread like wildfire, stirring anger and suspicion among many. As the town gathered in small groups near the clearing, the divide between the supporters of the aliens and those who doubted their intentions grew wider. Some residents, with eyes full of hope, offered food, water, and blankets to the visitors. They saw the aliens as gentle souls in need of shelter. In contrast, others kept their distance, watching every move with narrowed eyes and tight grips on their belongings. The once united community now found itself split by fear and distrust. The aliens, sensing the tension, tried to communicate their needs more clearly. The alien leader approached a group of villagers and, with slow, careful gestures, showed them images on a small device. The pictures told a story of a dying world, of lands ravaged by toxic storms and oceans turned bitter by pollution. The simple images and soft, trembling words revealed that their home was lost to chaos and despair. For many, the images touched a deep chord. The idea that nature could be destroyed reminded them of their own fragile existence. Mark took this moment to step forward and speak. "They have come not to harm us, but because they have nowhere else to go," he said in a clear, calm voice. "They share our love for life and our need for hope. If we help them, we help ourselves." His words were gentle yet firm, echoing in the silent air. Many in the crowd nodded, moved by his passion and belief in a better future. Yet even as hope flickered in some hearts, the seeds of doubt continued to grow. In the shadows, a small band of skeptics followed the discussions. They believed that the aliens could be hiding secrets too dangerous for humans to know. Rumors started to spread that the aliens might bring unknown dangers, diseases, strange powers, or even a hidden agenda. Every time an alien repaired a part of their craft, whispers grew louder. "What if this technology is too advanced for us?" Someone murmured. "What if they have other plans that we do not understand?" The worry was simple and raw, born of a deep human instinct to fear the unknown. By midday, the tension reached its peak. A group of townspeople, led by one of the more vocal local leaders, decided to keep a strict watch over the aliens. They set up barriers and posted guards near the craft. Their intention was to protect the town from any sudden danger, but the move only deepened the divide. The guards' watchful eyes and armed presence turned the clearing into a place of uneasy standoff rather than a site of mutual help. Inside the craft's vicinity, the aliens continued their work, their eyes filled with a mix of sorrow and determination. They communicated silently with one another, using soft sounds and gestures that no human had ever heard before. Their cooperation and the care they showed for each other reminded a few onlookers of the unity that could exist in the face of great adversity. The images on their device, combined with their gentle actions, slowly began to challenge the growing fear among some of the people. Mark knew that the true test was only beginning. The town now faced a choice: to let fear control them, or to take a leap of faith and open their hearts. He met with other supporters and formed a small group dedicated to bridging the gap between the two sides. They visited the aliens daily, bringing simple meals and sharing stories of their own struggles and dreams. In these quiet moments, human and alien exchanged small gifts of trust, a kind word, a shared smile, a gentle touch of understanding. Yet, the shadow of doubt still loomed. The local leaders' secret meetings grew more frequent, and plans to control the situation tightened like a noose around the hope that Mark and his friends were building. The day's events showed that even in the midst of a shared crisis, humanity's deepest challenge was not the alien threat, but the fear and division that lay within their own hearts. As the day turned to evening, the town was left at a crossroads. The aliens worked steadily, and the supporters gathered close, yet the skeptical watchers stood apart, their eyes cold and their minds uncertain. In this moment, the future of both species hung in the balance, a future that depended on whether trust or fear would lead the way. And so, in the dimming light of the day, the tides of doubt and hope continued to battle, setting the stage for the next chapter in a story that could change history forever: the Bridge of Hope. The next morning brought a cool light that seemed to wash away some of the night's fear. In the soft glow of dawn, the town's streets and fields took on a quiet calm. Yet in the clearing near the woods, a new chapter began. Mark, still full of quiet determination, had gathered a small group of kind and brave villagers. They met near the aliens' craft with simple tools and an open heart, ready to build a bridge of trust between two very different worlds. The aliens, though still weary, looked relieved to see friendly faces. Their large eyes, filled with sorrow and hope, watched as Mark's group approached with a gentle smile. The alien leader stepped forward again and held up a small, glowing device that looked fragile. It was a beacon meant to contact others from his dying planet, or to guide them to safe help. But the device was not working as it should. Its soft light flickered and dimmed, as if it were on the edge of giving up. Mark listened carefully as the alien leader used slow, measured words. In simple English, he explained that the beacon was needed to send a message back to their people. Without it, they would be unable to call for more help or share the knowledge of their plight. The villagers understood that this was more than a simple repair. It was a chance to help someone far away and to learn from the aliens' advanced yet gentle ways. A small group among Mark's supporters, including a young engineer named Lisa and a practical farmer named Ben, stepped forward. Together, they examined the device. Lisa's eyes lit up as she saw the fine circuits and delicate wires that connected the parts. "We can fix this," she said, her voice steady and clear. "It needs a special metal that I believe we have in our town's old workshop." With that idea, the group decided on a plan. They would split into teams, one to work on the beacon with the aliens and another to search the workshop for the rare metal. As the two teams set out, the clearing became a place of quiet activity and hope. The repair team sat around the flickering beacon, listening carefully as the alien leader pointed out each small flaw. With gentle hands, Lisa and a few others worked to replace the faulty parts. They used simple tools, careful not to disturb the alien device further. Every small success, a steady glow here, a stronger pulse there, was met with smiles and soft, grateful nods from the aliens. At the same time, Ben led a small group through the back streets of town to the old workshop. The building was dusty and filled with forgotten tools, but among the clutter, they soon found the piece of metal that Lisa needed. The metal shone under the weak light, a reminder that even old and forgotten things could hold the key to a new beginning. Ben and his team carried the metal back to the clearing, where a sense of excitement replaced some of the earlier fear. Back in the clearing, the repair team eagerly accepted the metal. With careful hands and clear instructions from both Lisa and the alien leader, they began the process of fitting the new piece into the beacon. As the metal slid into place, a warm light burst forth. The beacon glowed steadily now, its light a soft blue that reached out into the sky, as if calling for help from far away. For a moment, silence fell over the group. The villagers and aliens looked at each other in wonder. In that shared silence, a bridge of hope was built. The beacon's light was not just a signal for the aliens. It was a symbol of unity between two worlds. It showed that even in the face of deep differences, a willingness to help and to trust could light the darkest night. Yet, not all were convinced. A small group of skeptical villagers watched from the edge of the clearing. Their eyes were still filled with fear, and their whispers were low and hard to hear. They worried that helping the aliens would bring unknown risks to the town. Their hearts were still gripped by old fears, and they wondered what might come next. But for now, the light of the beacon made it hard to ignore the power of kindness. Mark walked among both groups, his calm presence a reminder that hope could be stronger than fear. He spoke to the skeptics in a soft tone, asking them to see the small acts of trust unfolding before their eyes. "Look at what we have done together," he said. "This beacon is a sign that our future can be bright. When we help others, we also help ourselves." As the day grew longer, the beacon's light pulsed steadily, sending its message into the sky. Though no reply came immediately, the hope in that light made the villagers believe that help was on its way, for the aliens and perhaps for their own troubled town as well. The work of that day had built more than a repaired device. It had begun to mend the divisions among the people. In the fading afternoon, the alien leader returned to his craft. With a gentle hand, he touched the beacon and murmured thanks in a soft, musical tone. His eyes met Mark's, and in that moment, a silent promise was made. The promise of a future where fear might give way to understanding, where simple acts of kindness could change history. Thus, the bridge of hope was built one small piece at a time, linking hearts across the divide of worlds. And as the light of the beacon shone steadily into the sky, it carried with it the dream of a better tomorrow, a dream born from the simple act of coming together. The call answered. After the beacon was mended and set aglow, its steady pulse reached far beyond the town. Night fell, and under a sky sprinkled with stars, the beacon's soft blue light pulsed like a heartbeat. Both the villagers and the aliens watched it with hope and trepidation. Mark stood near the clearing, his eyes fixed on the steady signal. For the first time since the aliens had arrived, there was a promise of something more. A call answered from the deep unknown. In a small room at the town's community center, a local teacher named Sarah had been watching the beacon's light through a modest telescope. She was curious by nature and loved to share stories of the stars with her students. That evening, as she adjusted the telescope, she noticed something unusual. A small flash, far away from Earth's glow, winked in the dark. At first, she thought it was a shooting star. But then she saw a pattern, a sequence of flashes that matched the rhythm of the beacon's pulse. Word of Sarah's observation spread quickly. Soon, a few villagers joined her at the community center, their eyes wide with both wonder and concern. "It is a reply," Sarah said in a calm, clear voice. "The beacon has been heard." Her words sent ripples of excitement through the small crowd. They wondered if the aliens' call had reached others who could help them. Back at the clearing, the aliens sensed a change in the beacon's signal. The alien leader's eyes shone with a new light as he touched the device, feeling the familiar hum of advanced technology at work. In simple, careful words that Mark and the villagers had learned to understand, he said, "Our call is answered. They come from far beyond our stars." His voice was soft, but carried a deep relief that spread to his companions. As the night deepened, a new shape began to appear in the sky above the town. At first, it was just a faint glow near the horizon, but soon it grew brighter and more defined. It moved slowly and gracefully, like a ship floating through space. The new craft was different from the first one. Its form was sleek and its light shone in a warm, steady gold. This new vessel seemed to be carrying a message of hope rather than fear. Mark and a small group of villagers, along with a few of the aliens, hurried to an open field at the edge of town. The air was cool and still as they gathered in a circle, their eyes fixed on the descending craft. There was a mix of wonder and caution in the crowd. Some held their breath, others whispered prayers, and a few doubted what they were seeing, their eyes full of worry. The new craft touched down softly on a cleared patch of land nearby. Its landing was silent, as if it were gliding on air. The craft's door opened slowly, and out stepped beings that were both similar and different from the first visitors. They were dressed in simple, elegant clothes that shone with the same warm light as their ship. Their faces were kind, and they moved with a calm, deliberate grace. One of these newcomers, a tall figure with gentle eyes, stepped forward. In simple English that sounded both rehearsed and natural, the being spoke. "We are here in response to your call. We have traveled many light years to answer the beacon. Our people have long known of your kindness and your strength. We bring help, and we bring hope." The words fell softly on the gathered crowd, stirring a mixture of awe and relief. The alien leader from the first craft stepped forward as well, his expression one of quiet joy. He met the eyes of the new visitor and replied in the same careful language. "Our plea for help was answered by those with open hearts. Now, together, we may mend what is broken." His words were simple, yet they carried the weight of centuries of loss and the promise of renewal. In that moment, the town stood united in a way it had not before. The villagers, who had once been divided by fear and doubt, now shared a collective purpose. Those who had been skeptical felt a shift in their hearts as they watched the gentle exchange between the visitors. Even those who had feared the unknown now saw that the new beings meant no harm. They had come not to conquer, but to share in the hope of a better future. Sarah, standing among the crowd, quietly recorded the events in her journal. She wrote of the starry night, the pulsing beacon, and the two groups of visitors whose messages of help had changed the town's course. Her simple words captured the wonder of the moment, and she knew that this was a turning point for both humanity and those who had come from the stars. As the evening wore on, the new visitors joined with Mark and his group to set up a small camp near the landing site. They exchanged basic ideas about their worlds, their hopes, and their dreams for the future. In simple gestures, a shared meal, a soft smile, a careful hand offered in friendship, the foundation of trust was built. Yet, the night was not free from tension. A small group of townspeople, still wary of change, gathered at a distance. They whispered among themselves, questioning the true intentions of the newcomers. What do they really want? One asked quietly, "Can we trust a promise from beyond the stars?" Their doubts were not entirely silenced, but even they could not ignore the genuine kindness in the eyes of the visitors. Under the vast, starlit sky, the beacon continued to pulse its gentle rhythm, a symbol of hope that had bridged the gap between distant worlds. The call had been answered, and in that answer lay the chance to heal old wounds, to break down barriers of fear, and to begin a journey toward a shared future. In the quiet hours of the night, as the new visitors and the townspeople talked and planned, the message was clear. Kindness and understanding had the power to change history. The call answered was not just a reply from far away. It was a promise that together, by reaching out to one another, both worlds could rise from the shadows of despair into a dawn filled with hope. The seeds of change. As the new day began, the town awoke to a gentle light that seemed to promise a fresh start. The previous night's events had left the people with a mix of hope and uncertainty. In the quiet morning, Mark gathered his small group of supporters near the clearing where the aliens and the new visitors had camped. Today, they would take the next step in building a future together, a future that could change their lives forever. In the town hall, a meeting was called. People from every corner of the town, both those who believed in the new alliance and those who still held on to their doubts, slowly filled the seats. The air was filled with whispers and soft murmurs of anticipation. Mark stepped forward, his steady voice calming the crowd. "We have seen the light of the beacon, and we have met our visitors. They have come with knowledge and hope. Let us listen and learn, so that we may grow together," he said. The leader of the new visitors, a tall being with gentle eyes, spoke next. Using simple words, he explained that his people had once faced great hardships on their own world. "We know what it is like to suffer and to feel alone," he began. "Our people learned that when we work together, even the smallest act of kindness can bring great change. We have traveled many light years to help you and to learn from you as well." His voice was soft and clear, and even those who had feared the unknown felt their hearts begin to open. To show their willingness to help, the new visitors presented a small, simple device. They explained that this device could clean water and help the soil to grow strong crops. One of the visitors demonstrated its use. With careful hands, he connected the device to an old, rusty water pump on the edge of the town. Almost immediately, a clear, cool stream of water flowed from the pump. The onlookers gasped and smiled. For many, this was the first real sign that the visitors' technology could help make life better. In a quiet corner of the hall, a few skeptical voices still whispered. Mr. Harris, a longtime resident known for his caution, asked in a low tone, "How do we know this will not bring trouble? Can we trust these strangers with our future?" His words caused a ripple of unease, but Mark stepped in once more. "We understand your fears," he said kindly. "Change is always hard. But we have already seen what happens when we choose fear over hope. Let us give this a chance. We will work together and learn as we go." The meeting continued with simple ideas shared by all. A group of farmers spoke of using the new device to irrigate dry fields, while teachers and elders discussed how to share the knowledge with the rest of the town. The visitors and aliens listened with sincere interest, their eyes reflecting the hope that came with each idea. In this meeting, a small council was formed, one that would work together to help both humans and aliens learn from each other. They called themselves the Alliance of Hearts, for they believed that every heart could make a difference. Over the next few days, the town began to change in small but meaningful ways. The new visitors taught simple lessons on how to use their technology. They showed the villagers how to repair old tools and even how to make small machines that could help in the fields. The aliens shared stories of their home world, of the beauty that once was, and the lessons learned from its loss. In these exchanges, the people found that the language of kindness was the same in every world. Mark spent many hours walking through the town, listening to both the excited and the worried voices. He saw young children playing with newfound energy as they helped water the plants, and older residents nodding slowly as they learned to use the devices to fix broken machines. Even Mr. Harris, who had been so doubtful, was seen quietly working alongside a visitor to repair a small garden fence. The seeds of change were slowly taking root, nurtured by the gentle care of everyone who chose hope over fear. There were small challenges along the way. At one point, a simple mistake with one of the devices led to a short circuit in the community center. The power flickered, and a small fire began in a corner of the building. In that moment, panic rose in some hearts. However, the visitors and the town's volunteers quickly joined forces. Working together, they put out the fire and repaired the damage. This incident, rather than breaking the newfound trust, became a lesson for all. They learned that mistakes could be fixed when everyone worked together, and that true change required patience and understanding. As the sun set on another promising day, the town gathered once more in the open field near the clearing. The air was filled with soft laughter and shared stories. The beacon, still pulsing in the distance, reminded them of the night when hope first came to call. Now, with each day, the promise of that hope grew stronger. The Alliance of Hearts met regularly, planning new ways to improve life for everyone. They talked of sharing their story with other towns, of inviting neighboring communities to join in this experiment of trust and unity. In the hearts of the people, the seeds of change had been planted. It was not a sudden, grand transformation, but a slow growth that promised a better future. The new visitors and the aliens had not only brought advanced tools or technology, they had brought a simple, powerful idea. That help, when given with care and received with trust, could change history. And in that small town, under the light of a humble beacon, that idea began to blossom into a future filled with hope, unity, and the promise of a new dawn for all.